What is up, Texas wrestling fans? This is Jay Williams, your hashtag certified mark, and I just got home from DFW All Pros Mayhem on Carson Street. To be perfectly honest, I love the shows, but if I have one complaint, we got there at 7 o'clock, got out at 11. That is so long. But other than that, it was still a fantastic show, and I can't wait to talk about it. Thanks for tuning in, wrestling fans. And like I said, Mayhem on Carson was a fantastic, if a bit long, show. So I'm going to be changing up my format just a little bit with this. I'm not going to talk about each match individually, because if I did that and I told you my thoughts on all of them, we'd be here as long as the show itself was. So, well, let's get into it. It started out with a 30-man battle royal to determine the number one contender for the Mineral Wells Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Whoever won this match was going to take on Big Ced. And you had guys that would have given Big Ced pause. We had Angel Camacho in there. We had Dallin Hyde. It was looking like could have been a absolute brawl between the two. But it turned out that it was the person that almost nobody would have expected. It turned out that the winner of this battle royal was Skip Terrific. It was Skip. And he gave a good showing. It was absolutely awesome. I mean, for a moment, we thought it might have been Exodus Prime, but it was Skip, and good on him. And it led to a really great match later on when he took on Big Ced for the Mineral Wells Pro Wrestling Championship and in the Dark Show. And you wouldn't think that a guy like Skip Terrific would be able to give Big Ced a fight, but he did. It was fantastic. And even though he didn't win the match, still awesome to watch. And, speaking of Skip Terrific, his tag team partner, C.T. Jones, was no slouch either, as he took on Lou Gotti Starrett for the GWF Heavyweight Championship. And that match, oh man, that match was something to watch. Those two men, they brought down the house on their own, and unfortunately CT came up a little bit short, but I'm still all for the buddy system, and maybe he'll get another shot later. Next up, we have the GWF Tag Team Onslaught Championship. It was a 4 tag team match, and it was an unbelievable match in and of itself. You had Pretty Inc., Jay Ace, and Christian Mox, which are a formidable team on their own, because you got Jay Ace's veteran skills and you've got Christian Mox's unbridled power. You had the Supreme Savages, my favorite guys there. And they're just unbelievable. You got to see it to believe it. Then you had the Odd Squad, who are a lot of fun to watch, and don't sell them short. They're a lot better than you can give them credit for. And of course, you have the champions themselves, UFC, Zarek and Onyx Camacho. If you haven't seen those two wrestle, you're missing out. You really need to be seeing these guys, because they are just unbelievably good. It was a knockdown, drag-out, chaotic fight. Every man got in the ring, and I think just about everybody went over that top rope, including the Jock. So that was unbelievable. And of course, speaking of the Jock, he dominated. Pure strength, dominated most of that match. He took punches that would knock lesser men down for the count and got back up. He was the Terminator. I'm wondering what he was when he played football. Was he the wall? The entire D-line? O-line? Whatever? Just, man, he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's working with someone I think who sees that future and wants to keep it for himself, but we'll see where it goes from here. But as for the Savages, they were my pick for the win, but unfortunately it didn't work out, and the UFC retained. Either way, it was a fantastic match, and we'll see where we go from here. And I know it may seem like I'm going to be skipping around and skipping a few matches here, but trust me, if I kept talking about all of the matches, this would be a much longer video than it really should be. But next up, I'm going to talk about the women's title match, in which Alabama challenged Killa Kate for the DFW All-Pro Women's Championship. And Allie's changed her style up a bit. She's coming out with champagne. She's coming out as the Dangerous Dame. Wow. I mean, hey, good on her. I mean, it made her a much more dangerous foe for Casey Warfield. So, of course, it made her a little more formidable going up against Killa Kate. Unfortunately, you had Nastico in the mix as well. And although that almost backfired on Kate, again, Kate was able to pull it out, getting the lock on Alabama and knocking her out. Kate's a beast. I mean, that is the absolute truth of that one. She is a dangerous, dangerous woman. I would not want to be in the match with her regardless of anything like gender. So, we'll see where she goes from here. Is there anybody that can challenge her for that All-Pro Women's Championship? And then we had the main event of the main show, but not the main event of the night, in which we had a triple threat match for the DFW All-Pro Heavyweight Championship, as Xavier Daniels defended his title against the King of Mount Chill, CJ Ward, and the Concrete Cowboy, Nate Collins. CJ Ward came out, usual pomp and circumstance that you expect from him, and if you pay attention to a certain other show, you already know my opinion on him. But Nate Collins came out to a new song, and he had the crowd going before the bell even rang. It was a lot of fun. And of course, X came out, and he's got some new duds, at least entrance duds, from what I've seen. And the match itself was just, I use this word a lot, but I mean, you had to be there to see it. It was unbelievable. I mean, for a moment, it looked like any one of them could have won. It looked like Nate had it handily. It looked like CJ was going to steal one. And then Nate had CJ down with his finisher. But X, he's not just all brawn. He's brains too. He pushed Nate out of the way, got the 1, 2, 3, and retained. You know, Nate's been on fire a lot lately. And honestly, I know that, you know, CJ kind of earned his way into that title picture, but I honestly think Nate Collins deserves a one-on-one shot against Xavier Daniels. He should have a fair shot at that title. Let him and CJ resume their war afterward. But for this, just keep it to the Concrete Cowboy and the X-Train. And then, of course, we have the main event of the night, the whole shebang. The magnificent Malico, leader of the Mad World, invaded DFW All-Pro and took on the King of Fools, Byron Anthos. And oh, it was so much fun. I've been wanting this match since I saw the two of them. Never in the same ring at the same time, but knowing who they were, I could only think to myself that the King of Fools versus the leader of the Mad World would be an unbelievable match to watch, and I was right. It was so much fun. The two of them just got into each other's heads in so many ways. It drove Malaco mad when Byron was, of course, playing the fool. And, oh, it was back and forth. It was powerful. It was crazy. And if I were to keep gushing about it, we'd be here all night. So I'm just going to say this. Malaco did eventually get the win with his jackhammer slam. And it seems to have done something to Byron for that loss. And I'm not sure I like what I saw. Byron, buddy, my king, are you okay? Thanks for watching, wrestling fans. That was DFWAP Pro's Mayhem on Carson. I know it's a little shorter and sloppier than I usually do, but you know what? I just want to show that I'm not just an MPX shill. I support all of Texas wrestling, whether it's RCW down in San Antonio, Laredo Wrestling, NTPW, or of course, DFWAP Pro. You need to check them out again June 14th when they come back to Halton City. And of course, don't sleep on DFW Women's Wrestling. That is actually an excellent show as well. Excellent. Sure, why not? We'll keep it. But either way, make sure you're always supporting your Texas independent wrestling and Texas independent wrestlers because, I mean, they do it for you in the first place. Either way, cheer the face, boo the heel. And as always, keep it kayfabe. Mark out, wrestling fans.